The White House, perhaps the most famous building in the world, instantly recognizable to most people. But did you know that the White House has its fair share of paranormal activity? When you consider the construction of the White House began in October 1792, perhaps it should come as no surprise that a building with so much history has its fair share of ghosts. Is it the sense of duty that those that wandered the halls of the White House, who carried the weight of so many in their thoughts, still return and linger, wishing once again to influence and govern? In 1946, President Truman was awoken in the night by the sound of knocking. On this experience, he wrote, "I jumped up and put on my bathrobe, opened the door and no one there. Went out and looked up and down the hall, looked in your room and Margie's, still no one. Went back to bed after locking the doors and there were footsteps in your room whose door I'd left open. Jumped and looked and no one there." Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected presidents in US history, tragically lost his 11-year-old son to disease. After his son had passed away, Lincoln's wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, reported being visited by her deceased son who would appear smiling in front of the First Lady on a frequent basis. But it would in fact be Abraham Lincoln himself who would go on to be more frequently sighted after his own death by assassination. Lincoln's ghost was first spotted by Lady Coolidge, who saw him looking out of the window of his former office. Perhaps more notably, British Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill, during a stay at the White House, upon getting out of the bath, wandered into the lounge only to see the ghost of Lincoln leaning against the mantel. It is said that Churchill responded jovially, "Good evening, Mr. President. You seem to have me at a disadvantage." It is said that Lincoln responded with a soft smile before disappearing. Unfortunately, not everyone reacted to seeing Lincoln's ghost in good humour. During a state visit, Queen Wilhelmina from the Netherlands, while staying in the White House, heard a knock at the door. She approached the door and opened it, only to see Lincoln's ghost standing before her. So frightening was this experience that she reportedly fainted. As I mentioned before, Lincoln's wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, claimed to have seen her son's ghost, and it should be pointed out that Mary was a believer in the paranormal, and was apparently a spiritualist who attended seances as well as conducting them within the White House itself. After her husband's death, Mary had her photo taken by a spirit photographer, and the photographer was able to produce a photo with the likeness of the ghost of Lincoln watching over her. Although many doubt that the photo is anything other than a hoax, it is an eerie sight. Understandably, when we think of the White House, we think of politics, or the current president. It's fair to say that the paranormal is far from our minds, and yet, it may just be that the White House deserves a reputation as one of the most haunted houses in the US. One wonders how many other ghostly experiences continue to this present day. Have you heard of any? If so, please tell us in the comments. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button or hit subscribe to see future videos.